The first set of panel discussion, or the first panel discussion, was on science, technology, innovation strategy for Africa 2034. And Ms. Pontsho Maruping, the director of the NRF-SARAO, was part of the panel discussion. And I'll allow Ms. Pontsho to introduce herself. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Pontsho Maruping. I'm the managing director of the South African Radio Astronomy Observatory.
Okay. So the abbreviation of the panel was STISA 2034. Can you please tell us more? What is it and why is it important?
Okay, so STISA 2034 is essentially the science, technology, and innovation strategy for Africa. This has been developed so that Africa has a long-term plan of where they want to take science, technology, and innovation in the continent. It calls for more collaboration, more funding, more development of science infrastructure, as well as building capacity needed to enhance Africa's science, technology, and innovation participation.
During the discussion, there was a long conversation on how AI can advance STISA 2034 strategy. Can you please tell us more? How can AI advance, especially in your field, astronomy or MeerKAT data?
So, I use the example that for a telescope like the SKA, where you generate large amounts of data, it is really not possible to expect humans to sift through the data, analyze it, remove noise and all of that stuff from the data. So having tools like AI tools that help researchers with cleaning up this data so that they are able to do the science part as opposed to sifting through large amounts of data is really helpful. But how it relates to STISA essentially is that you're developing skills that are transferable to other areas. So if you're thinking about what you would need for health, for instance, or what you would need for climate research, a lot of it is kind of similar type of challenges where you can get data from multiple sources and you want to be able to have people who are skilled at data analysis, at dealing with complex problems that can then provide solutions or at least provide knowledge that could inform policy in those areas as well.
Okay. So during the minister's speech, he said something on the need to grow astro-tourism in South Africa and in the world at large. Can you please tell us how would SARAO contribute to the growth of astro-tourism?
So we are already partnered, in fact, with the Department of Tourism on developing astro tour guides in the Karoo. So we've taken young people from the rural communities and they are combining their heritage and culture with the knowledge of astronomy. So they tell stories about the stars and the galaxies and then, also learn how to do observations with telescopes and then relate those to their culture. That provides a very unique experience for a visitor in that region who, gets to know a little bit more about both. So we have already trained a first cohort of astro guides, and they're already doing this whenever we have visitors in the Karoo. We are going to expand the program now and train more of those astro guides, and that at least creates the capacity in the area for those same young people to now be, the ones that provide this experience for visitors.
Okay. So my follow-up question was going to be on societal impact, which already I feel like with this astro-tourism, already there's societal impact. But you touched something about the involvement or societal impact at the NRF, which I would like you to talk more about it. And also, how do I get involved? Should I see this video and be like, I would like to participate in something like this?
So, our program, from the minutes South Africa got involved in the SK project, we wanted to do two things really well. One, we wanted to make sure that we can have skills across the board, from engineering to science, that can get involved in developing, designing, and building radio telescopes, but also analyzing the data that comes out of that. So now we have multiple programs that we also are trying to involve people from the communities close to where the telescope is based, mostly really rural towns around. So we have an artisan training program, for instance, and we train people who can then come on site and work as technicians and do help us with maintenance of not only the telescope but the site itself. We also support a local school. We have hired educators that are able to help improve the maths and science at one of the high schools. Then we support learners from those rural towns who want to do maths and science to be able to attend this high school. And any of them who get accepted to university also receive bursaries from us to go study. Initially, we limited it to science and engineering, and now, we are funding learners who are learning to be teachers and finance managers. So, in that way, that you're going to impact the community in a much more long-term positive way. We also ensure that we have programs that target local procurement and measure actually how much we spend in those surrounding towns. Okay. That includes even for this current construction phase that is not even funded solely by South Africa. So the International SKA project in their program for the civil infrastructure rollout also ensure that there's local participation. So the main contractor has to hire local labor and also support small businesses in the area. So that we are not perceived like how a lot of industries work, where they come in, they are primarily extractive, they take away what they want from the environment and leave nothing for the people who are in those environments. We talk about maintaining a social license to operate.
Okay, so I was also expecting to hear what you actually shared on robotics for the competition.
Yes, so for some years now, we've been running a robotics program in the area. I remember meeting the first group of learners who did robotics. Because the primary language of instruction in the area is Afrikaans, they could barely explain their projects. They were struggling with the language. This past May, I attended the Lego robotics competition. There were 80 teams from 22 different countries. And I was blown away by these. We had 2 teams actually from Carnarvon who were participating in this. To see these young people networking with teams from Germany, from Netherlands, from Australia, from the US, with so much confidence, being able to explain their project, defend the research that they've done, present and participate in the games. I mean, it really is a fantastic program. And I say, if Africa is really keen to develop AI skills, you need to make young people as comfortable as possible with coding, even if they don't end up, strictly working in coding. Can you imagine if you have an agricultural manager who understands robotics, who understands AI, the impact that it would have on how they think about solving problems in agriculture? Completely different. So I do believe that if this conference does nothing else, these engagements with African science leaders does nothing else except, commit to training young people, I think that would be a fantastic outcome.